Conversion, this is ALA, that first one, converts to EPA and DHA in your body, okay? But not super well. So that's why sometimes when we're doing that ALA a lot and we don't have any of the EPA and DHA ones, we don't get as much of the benefit from them because the ALA is making these two guys in our body, right? So it's a delicate balance amongst all of those, but there's multiple types, right? This is my favorite. Next one, fiber. Yes, we love fiber, okay? I prescribe fiber all the time from food. Some people need to supplement with it if they don't tolerate it super well at first. Most of our country's fiber deficient. We want to be getting 25, 30, 35 grams a day. Most people are getting 10. So there's room for improvement. Fiber, if I have one thing that I want my patients to do, is to increase their fiber intake. And we can win if we can do that. And here's why. I mean, this is like just a few of the potential benefits of increased fiber intake. How about improving your body's ability to process your blood sugar? I mean, it's a huge part of treating diabetes, increasing fiber from plant sources. The only place you're going to get it is from plant sources. So we can increase our fiber intake. We can improve the way our body responds to our insulin, so that our glucose can be processed better. It can improve your blood sugar, your blood pressure. It can decrease your risk of heart attack, stroke. Fiber is absolutely crucial, and we're getting this from plant sources. One of my key takeaways today is to get more bang for your buck. And what I mean by that is, I try and find as much plant-based food in our house that is both high in fiber and protein, and then we win, right? Like beans, yeah, a lot of different bulk grains. Think of quinoa, for example. We've got fiber, we've got protein. A lot of people who move toward a more plant-centric diet are really worried where they're going to get their protein from, but plants have protein. And if you can get, plants have fiber too, we win. So let's talk about some simple steps. When you're looking at a nutrition label, this isn't a comprehensive one, this is just a little picture of one. But when you're looking at a nutrition label, I recommend to my patients looking at the total carbohydrates versus the fiber. Right? So if you look at any nutrition label, you see there's total carbohydrates listed, and under there it's going to say dietary fiber. Okay? Everybody pick up that bar. Pick up that bar that you have in your bag. All right, so if you look on that bar and you see total carb, and then you look at fiber next to it. So total carb is that 31 grams, fiber is that 7 grams, okay? When I say ratio, I just mean how much of that total carbohydrates is made up of fiber. And if it's about 5-to-1, or even better, 4-to-1, that's awesome. So like the majority of your total carbohydrates being fiber, the better. That's what we're wanting to go for, okay? So think of that math. That was, let's just call it 30, and let's call it 6 instead of 31 and 7. That's a 5-to-1 ratio. Yay. You can get those bars anywhere. I don't actually work for that company, but I think it's really wonderful to look for foods that have that type of ratio, right? Vast majority fiber on that nutrition label. Rainbow plate, all day, every day. So when I'm talking to patients about dietary practices and dietary adjustments to what they already do, I start with, what can you afford? Hello. What do you have access to readily? You're in a food desert, my recommendations are going to be extremely different than if you shop at Whole Foods or the co-op, right? Different. So what do you have access to? What do you like to cook? What can you afford? What do you feel like you're good at cooking? What works with your life? If you're working 3 jobs and you aren't able to batch prep a bunch of meals on a Sunday afternoon, then it's unrealistic for me to tell you to do that, right? So take your existing dietary pattern, and can you make whatever you already like to do and can afford to and have access to look more like a rainbow? So can you add some color to it? That seems simple. And honestly, a lot of these recommendations are not super fancy. And they're not headline catching. They're pretty simple. And if you can make that plate look more like a rainbow, you're already increasing your antioxidants. Cool. You're already increasing your fiber intake. Awesome. Right? And so we're already making a couple of changes that are going to help you overall. And those small changes over time add up. The incremental changes add up. When you read the labels, last one on that one is looking at the ingredients list I think is an oversimplification to say if you can't pronounce it, don't get it. Like that's an oversimplification of things, because there are a lot of foods like vitamins that actually are hard to pronounce, but they're vitamins, right? What I mean when I'm looking at the ingredients labels is not so much like how much is on there, but what are the sources of what you're getting? If you're seeing a lot of these highly processed refined oils versus the first ingredient being black beans, that's a very different story, right? And so just looking at those nutrition labels to understand what's in the food that you're getting, the quality of food, is important. Okay, key takeaways before we open up for questions. So, anything in medicine, I have learned, is not 100%. Nothing's 100%. Also, especially when it comes to lifestyle, and especially nutrition, we cannot boil everything down to one recommendation that goes to every single person and works for everyone perfectly. That's not reality. So, heart disease is not caused by just one issue. It's a pattern of things that are going on. It's your family history, it's your dietary pattern, are you exercising, it's your sleep, it's your stress, it's all kinds of things that are playing into there, right? So nutrition is just one key part of the management of heart disease or reduction of risk of it, okay? So it's all about the overall pattern of your diet. What you ate for dinner last night is not going to ruin your life if it wasn't good, right? If it wasn't something that you deem okay. It's the pattern over time of how you're approaching your eating, your relationship with food. That is what's going to improve things overall with your long-term risk for heart disease. Get more bang for your buck. You know, get the, what was my favorite thing? Only Bean. Only Bean, write it down. Great company. They have I had an edamame pasta the other night. Like it was just edamame was the ingredients, right? Like it's just soybeans. It's things like this for me as a super busy mom are a game changer, because now I've made only bean. Yeah, now I've made a pasta dish with a bunch of veggies on top. It took me 10 minutes, but I got bang for my buck because it's high in fiber, it's high in plant-based protein, right? It's one ingredient in there. To me, those little hacks, those little bang for your buck moments go a long way over time. Plant sources of key nutrients. So we talked about different sources of omegas. We talked about great sources of fats and protein. We talked about great sources of fiber. And they all come from plants. You can get them from plant-based sources, and they will improve your heart disease risk over time. But I think it's important to note, especially when we're talking about lifestyle, that there's no shame in asking for help. There's no shame in if you need medication for something. That's not making you a bad person or a failure, right? Still, the way you eat matters. That is part of a treatment plan. No matter what else you do, this has to be a prescription, right? This has to be part of your treatment plan, whether it's the sole thing or it's in conjunction with other management options. But there's no shame in asking for help. Dietitian, working closely with your doctor on this can really help, especially if you're really worried about heart disease. So, we'll open up for Q&A.